welcome to Dream It, Dare It, Do It. Live the life you want. My name is Jasmine, and I'm a coach and business consultant. And for the past, makes me old, the past 20 years, 25 years, I've been living the life I want. And sometimes I suffered, and sometimes I didn't suffer. And I I've been inquiring about living the life I want for all of this time. And I had my learning curve, because when I first became self-employed, I did whatever I wanted, which meant I watched a lot of TV. And that's that wasn't very good for my business. That just didn't work out for some reason. And I've been looking this way and seeing different things, and I've been talking to different people who have perspectives that speak to me. They do things that make me go, huh, and make me question my own point of view. And in season 2, if you guys have looked or listened to season 1, you will have seen that I've talked to coaches that were part of Super Coach Academy with me, and maybe a few that weren't. And all we talked about really was, how do you live the life you want? And in season 2, I have 2 friends that you've both heard about, that both of them came onto season 1. And so you've already heard about them if you've listened to the season. And I invited them because, well, the very first reason why I invited them is because I love them.
We love you too.
And I wanted to have these continued conversations about living the life that we want. And one of the things that I could see is that what I'm looking for in life is peace. What I'm looking for in life is love. It's well-being. And I started to see that more and more. And so I actually met Amy during a webinar because Rob invited me to a webinar, and they were both talking about health. And, I'm getting on in age, we're recording on the 19th of January. My birthday's tomorrow. So get ready, guys. My birthday's tomorrow. And I'm actually, I've passed over the 50. I can't believe it. I know I don't look like it, Rob. I know I don't. My heart is till 32. And I love to laugh. I love to play. And I saw that there were a lot of things that were in my way. And one of the things that was in my way was that my body wasn't moving the way I wanted it to move. And it was like, you son of a gun. And so I started having conversations with Rob about moving. So that's why I invited him to come on so that we can continue having the conversation about moving, because he's got a beautiful perspective on it, and I love it. And the reason why Amy's on here is because I hate being told what to do. and I love it when I see for myself what I have to do, because that's literally what I want to do. And Amy was talking about listening to your body and seeing what the body wants to eat, like what your body needs. And that's what attracted me to Amy the very first time that I talked to her. So Amy's going to talk to us about what to eat.
Eat
So
what you want.
eat what you want. So it's like
But
move the
how do
way you
you
want
how do
to.
you attune into that
Yeah.
and, align with your health values, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
That's very interesting because that's one of the things that I clarified more and more for myself. Like I could see the stuff that was in the way, the thinking that was in the way that was stopping me from what I really wanted.
Yeah.
Like I remember once I saw the line, there was a line, sometimes doing um what you have to do is not enough. You have to do what's required. And
Mm.
that spoke to me. In that moment, it was just like, oh yeah, it's not just what I want, there's stuff that's required. And really in the end, if I look, the required stuff is stuff that I want. I just don't qualify it as that's what I want, right? But the more I'm into this conversation, especially with you guys, I can see there's stuff that I want, but it's really not good. Don't do it. Or I know how to
Yeah.
make a balance now instead of fighting with my mental, all of my mental shit that
Yeah.
I have
I
in my
think
head.
balance, that word is probably going to be the key word to unlocking anything in either one of what I say or what Amy says.
Yeah.
How you balance it with what you eat and how you move. I totally understand that even if I took movement and did it every day, but I didn't take care of how I ate, that still wouldn't be enough.
Yeah.
That if it's the proper balance of it that makes it work. It's like one of those things where how I guess some people would like one cup all the way full and they'll rather have this one down to at least have one full cup. When it comes to this stuff, you need 3 or 4 cups that all got a little bit in it. Like I got a little bit about the way I eat. I got a little bit about the way I move. I got a little bit about the way I treat my mind. To collectively, help your health. But I love that term balance. That's what I would say is a very important key to all of this. Balance.
What I like in our conversations that we have, it's that it doesn't become a thing that we do. You know, it's not a, like the other day I stood up and, I started raising my feet in the mirror and I started putting my feet in the back and I'm like, doing my arm thing. And I'm like, it wasn't like, okay, now you're like, you got to go do that. It's like, it wasn't a thing that I did. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
I feel like just getting up and moving.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like have to let go of some thinking about, and I saw different thinkings, like there's one thing that you said to me, Rob, like for those of you, like nobody knows, so I'm just going to tell them now.
Go.
Rob gave me a workout and I hate exercises, thus the body, the current body. But it's not just that I hate exercises, is that I had a lot of thinking around it, like a lot of thinking around, okay, well, I'm 50 now. I'm never going to do
Yeah.
anything anyways. So I might as well just forget it. Like it kind of like, I said, the body aspect of Jasmyne, I put it in a box and I put it aside. And I said, let's not look at that, until I die. Basically, it was kind of like, this is how it is. And that's it. That's all.
Uh,
But I took it out of the box and now I'm just looking at it differently. And just doing that, like in that conversation that I had with Rob, one of the things that he made me do is he made me lie down on the ground and get up. And he's making me do this and I'm like, the fuck is this guy making me do? You know, like, you know, so, and in my mind, what's going on is I hate this. You know, I've been doing Pilates for the last 2 years, and just getting on the machine and getting up, you know, was like a pain in my butt. Now, and I was on a machine, which is like basically what, a foot off the ground. Now I'm like literally on the ground, getting up, getting back down, getting up, getting back down. And he makes me do this 8 times. And, you know, I'm like, oh, man. And then he says to me, this is the thing that clicked for me. And that now I'm like, I'm just throwing myself on the ground and bringing myself up. No apparent reason. But what he said to me was, now, Jasmine, you know that when you fall, you can get up. And the more you do it, the more you're going to get that confidence that. And like, I don't know if he knew this, but in the past, since in 2017 and 2018, I was much bigger than this. And like, I don't know how much I lost, if I lost or whatever, but I feel so much stronger in my body now. But in 2017 and 2018, I fell a lot. Like I would just, you know, trip on my feet, man, and I would just fall. And I would hurt myself like there's no tomorrow. My back would hurt. You know, I would be in pain forever. And then I started walking like a little old lady, you know, like, and I walk in ice. You don't know how many times I fell in ice. Just that thing that you said just made me go, oh, I'm going to be able to get up. And you'd think it was just like common sense, but it was not in my mind.
Yeah.
It's like
That's why we move.
Yeah. It's like a metaphor, right? It's like a metaphor for like if there's not a straight path to you know, like body movement. We're going to ebb and flow. Our bodies change, they transform as we age, and illness and other demands. If we're women and we have children, you know, if we get an injury. And so that's preparing for like the realness of life. And yet we have this idea in our mind that like body movement has to be a certain size or have a certain physique. And that obstacle of, if that's your goal and you've never achieved it, then that's probably why people stop, right? Because like they're not getting the result they wanted from it. But if your desire is to feel better, to have more energy, to feel strong, to have those sort of things, then that's more like intrinsically motivating, and you're actually paying attention to the real benefits of it. You know what's like interesting? You're getting the feedback of like what like how it feels good.
Absolutely.
You know,
what's really interesting is that I didn't know. It wasn't, you know, I remember when I used to fall, like I was pissed. I was like pissed off, but I was pissed off at the body. You know, I was like, you stupid body. And then, you know, since the body is me, then I would start beating myself up. See, it's because you do this, you do that. But Rob, how did you know? Like, well, first of all, did you even know that
Of
would?
course, I knew. That's
like, what's the thinking around it? What's the like? What do you see around that?
well, when I do that, I do it usually when I get to a new gym or teach classes. I've done it a lot at hardcore, where I have one side of the room lay down and get back up. I'll do it a couple times, and then the other side. And I said, now you've had somebody witness you get back up. So, or, you know, it's all variations of it, but it kind of just set the foundation for me with why we move. I tie every piece of movement back to life. I need to understand. I need to understand how these actions. So I'm not trying to teach you how to exercise. I'm trying to teach you how to move. That's why we were doing things like standing up out of your chair or going to the counter, standing on one leg. All of that is how you'll balance yourself so you won't be falling as much. That came up in the conversations before. So we have a few conversations. I hear what your life is, and then we implement movement in there that reinforces better quality of life in your movement. Like, it would have been different if you were telling me, all right, Rob, I got this marathon I want to get ready for. Well, we would have approached movement much differently. But we were trying to stop from falling. We was trying to minimize aches and pains. We were trying to produce a little bit more lean muscle mass. So that's why we chose there. But that started with just tying it to the foundation of it being a basic need. That's how you create, is in movement, in action. So, and the body doesn't know the difference. Like, you standing up and sitting down in your chair and standing back up, the body doesn't go, oh, she's sitting down in the chair, she's not squatting. No, the body goes hip flexion, knee extension, dorsiflex this. It's biomechanics to the body. The body doesn't know if you're carrying groceries out of the grocery store and walking to the other end of the parking lot. Doesn't know, oh, I don't have to activate because those are just grocery bags. Those are not mini dumbbells. No, the body doesn't know that. The mind knows it. Yeah. So all of that counts. All of that is movement. And when you get enough movement in your life, you don't have to go get it artificially at a gym. Like, it's like supplements, and Amy can speak to it, but if you're getting all the nutrition you need in your food, you don't have to take supplements because you're getting it in your diet. Well, if you get enough movement in your life, you don't have to go get the artificial movement. You get it in your life.
I find that like so amazing. And what I love about teaching mindful eating is that it incorporates the mind, right? And it incorporates what you love, and it's the whole process. So it's not just, it's the whole thing. It's like preparing the foods, looking at that nutritional value, like you're cognizant of it, but it's not like counting grams. It's not being all in, like into these rigid diet mentality. It's literally like being involved with the process of eating, choosing the food, being present to it, bringing your senses to the occasion, bring that body movement to it, put some music on, you can dance and cook and, and at the same time, it can be meditative. So all of those things we say we don't have time for to take care of our well-being while we're really, really busy, going to work, being parents, being, partners, whatever it is that we do, you got to eat. You got to eat.
It's like doing
and you
that.
Your body to make the dang food.
Yeah. It's like I love that point, because I remember when I was a young trainer, and one of the mentor trainers, we were talking about objections in sales. And we were talking about time. And I was like, well, because I came from the military, I was like, oh, well, I understand busy. So there are times when you can't do it, right? And the mentor trainer said to me, he said, well, then make them see that, it's actually that they don't have time, because they don't have time is why they need you. To fix it for that hour for them, to do all of this so they don't have to think about it any other time. And he totally flipped that for me, like, oh, wow. That, as a trainer talking about sales, right? He was saying to buy my services, if somebody said, oh, I don't have time, it's like, no, you actually need me because you don't have time, because I'll make this hour work. I'll plan your body movements out. You don't have to come to the gym and think about where to go. I do that for you. And it totally changed everything. And I was like, oh, wait. So if I could get them to change what they see in time, period, that's just for the busy mind, right? But if I can get everybody to see time differently, I can get it. And that's how I created the Take 5 thing, where people were saying, oh, I'm too busy. I work 12-hour days. Okay, cool. Then every 55 minutes, stop. Give me a couple jumping jacks. Give me 10 push-ups. Give me 10 crunches. Guess what we got at the end of a 12-hour shift? 60 minutes of working out. So it was just like then they somehow find a way. Oh, well, I got an hour. Oh, we got an hour now. Imagine that, Oh, I got 30 minutes. Once you start moving, the body will find it, your life. It unfolds in that way, where it'll show you more ways to move, more things to eat. I agree with Amy. I'm not a counter. You won't see me calorie counting shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
That
know,
was
you're
for
not seeing
me.
that.
That wasn't like, oh no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. Like I've done the diet thing. I've done it. It just, it just didn't like, of course it worked, but then I'm like, oh, yeah, but I don't want to I don't want to drink shakes for the rest of my life for
Well,
crying
that's the
out
type
loud.
of diet. Yeah, that's the type of diet that people
Yeah.
choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
But
I don't
there,
want to
it
force
works for
myself.
some.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't want to do it. That's the part. You didn't want to
Yeah.
do that. You don't, which means you don't have to. That's a gazillion. A gazillion. I don't even know if that's a number. Please check my facts, Miss Research. You know, Amy's a researcher, so please check my facts on that. I don't know is gazillion a real number, but there are gazillion diets, right? So if you got one you don't like, hell, if you got 100 of these fuckers you don't like, cool. There's a million of them. There's 900 more thousand we can look for, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Just keep
And
trying what works for you.
there's something out there that like, and also there's the diet that that is, you know, um, how do I call it? There's the diet that's a lifestyle. There's like, this is just the way that I
Oh,
eat.
eating habits. Yeah,
Yeah. And
Well,
then
my
everyone
eating
has a
habits.
diet. We all
yeah,
Yeah,
have
that's
diet,
what I mean. Yeah,
whatever it
everybody
is.
has a
Yeah.
diet, whatever it is. But eating
exactly.
Just
habits
like we
versus a
all need to eat,
trending,
we all have a diet. Yeah.
Yeah.
you're saying
Exactly.
versus a trendy diet, like one of
Mhm.
those where
A fad.
I'll
Hmm.
yeah, fat diet where I'll forsake carbs
Yeah.
to burn, and then I mess around and mess up my hormones, and then I'll yo back, or I'll do only this, and yeah, I those diets are very very dangerous to the average body. They have very good results for athletes though. So if you are an athlete, that style of eating works for you, but majority of us aren't professional athletes,
Yeah.
right? Like, so it doesn't make sense to eat that way
Yeah.
or work out that way.
When it comes to food, I came to a point in my life where, well, first of all, you guys all need to know I'm going to be saying stuff that I'm embarrassed about, but I'm going to still going to say it because,
You
I
turn
said I was,
red. You
I,
turn red just giving your disclaimer. That's hilarious. that's that's funny as hell.
well, I said that I was going to be true and that I was going to be authentic, and so I'm just going to say it. So there are things that I do that I'm pretty embarrassed about, and one of the things that I'm pretty embarrassed about, and I really want to hide, is that I love restaurant food, right? Like, I will not cook. I'm going to call restaurant food. And so, I'm, what did I say? I was 32, right? I'm 32. Hold on, Rob. I'm going to finish. I know what you're going to talk about, but
No,
listen,
I got a question.
what's the question?
What's wrong with restaurant food?
Okay. I eat fast food. I should say fast food.
Oh, got it. Okay, I was like, I love restaurant food. Oh,
Yeah.
I
No,
thought I was wrong too. Okay, good. Okay, I'm
when
sorry. Go
I
ahead.
when I order, like, generally, and what I mean is I order a lot. I order in a lot.
Got it. Okay.
And when I order in, I'm inevitably going to order fries, and I'm inevitably going to order the fatty things, because, like, if I'm ordering in, if I'm this is the process, the thinking process, and this is the stuff that's really like what I saw over the weekend. That's what my life is created from, right? My thinking is, if I'm going to pay this amount of money for it to come in, I'm going to freaking love what I'm eating. And
Mm.
I'm thinking it's chicken and fries and poutine. You know what poutine is, Rob?
Mm-mm.
Amy knows. Amy knows.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the cheese curd gravy fries
Yeah.
thing, right?
So, like, one of my favorite fast food, Rob, is their fries with cheese curds and gravy on top of it. And, like,
Oh, wow.
lots of gravy. So, but here's what's happening with me in my life right now. Well, first of all, there are many things that I've done in my life that, like, nobody said do it, Jasmine. I did it because it kind of like occurred. So I stopped smoking. So I, at one point, like, I just saw, and that's what I like with the seeing. There are things that we just see,
Mm-hmm.
So I saw myself smoking, breathing smoke inside my body, and then throwing it out, and then smelling like an ashtray. Like it was just like very present. So, 20 years ago, I quit smoking, haven't come back to it. Then I was a big diet Pepsi drinker, like big diet Pepsi drinker. It was two for lunch, two cans for lunch, 2 cans for dinner. And I started having this taste in my throat. And I was like, why am I drinking Pepsi? What like, why am I doing that? And I haven't drank Pepsi since 2011.
Oh
So it's
wow.
already been 10 years. I started drinking soft drinks again this year, but sporadic, like just once in a blue moon. So now what's coming up for me is the fast food is making me like, why am I doing that? And I started eating salad. I started making myself salad. And somebody would have told me 10 years ago, Jasmine, you're going to love salad. I would have went, no, I love salad. I mean, give me a salad with red peppers. Botti loves red pepper. Botti is my dog. Red peppers, red onions, lemon, peanuts, like what are they? They're sunflower seeds. And then I put a little of little dried cranberries and all of this. Some tuna in there, and then I have avocado, and I love it, and I'm seeing that there are just things, there are foods that if I knew about them, I would be doing them.
Yeah.
Right? So
That's
Amy's been doing these videos online about different foods, and I'm like, I wonder if I'd like that. So what do you have to say, Amy?
I was going to say, it's interesting. And this is where like mindful eating is, you had mentioned earlier about like liking those foods and enjoying those foods, and the diet mentality is like, those aren't, it's like all or nothing, right? And that's not the way we live our lives ever. We're never going to swear off cake forever, or whatever it is that we really truly enjoy. And being mindful of how the food makes your body feel. And when we're mindful of that, and we actually notice the uncomfortable feeling of like overeating, or undereating, like they're both uncomfortable, right? The uncomfortable feeling of like having fries like 5 days in a row, or like pizza 5 days in a row, like our body literally gives us information going like, that's not really great for you,
It will
And
tell you.
so we can, when we slow down to process that information and not layer that with shame and with guilt and with like, oh fuck, I did the thing again. Because then a lot of people, that's a trigger for them just to spiral back into like, okay, I'll just eat ice cream now. And we shouldn't be ashamed of our like desire to eat. And the noticing of the feeling of that, how it generates your body, and all these other things that you desire, that a key element is what we put in our body. And when it's done with like love and compassion and honoring the body, and still realizing that things aren't off limits and you can still live your life, it just feels so much more, it's like freedom. It's like so much more food freedom, and that's the place where I want to live. So, that's what I teach, is really like getting to how people want to feel, getting them to notice how the food makes them feel. Cause that's reliable measurement.
Mm.
it's real time, you know, like it's real time feedback we're getting from our bodies. And that's really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it feels good. Like I see, because like I look at like these two areas, food and exercises were two areas that I wasn't looking at. Like
Mm.
I said, I had put them in a box and I was like, well, for me, they were both tied to my body. And it was like, okay, my body is like this and that's how it's going to be for the rest of my life. And I've been told I was fat forever and that's it. I'm just going to suffer through the rest of my life the way that I am. You know what I mean? And I never looked in that area. And I've been looking in the area of my thoughts, and I've been looking at, how my suffering through life or my non-suffering through life, like there are things that I do, like I'm an action girl. I'm like, I was telling Rob the other day, I was like, if anybody needs a website, just give me a call. You want what? A website? Okay, you want it now? Because we can just go do it. You want a link to your calendar? Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, no problem. Like, I'm going to do it now. If you don't want to do it now, don't call me. Because like, I don't like waiting. I'm like, you got an idea? Let's go. Right. So I could see that I had no thinking there, but I could see that I was suffering through other areas. And I was like, why the hell am I suffering in these other areas, And so I started looking at business and, I started looking at different things. And so I've been, I've created my life the way that I've created. Like I do what I want. Like I remember years ago, I would sit down, and I would make goals. And I would write down, okay, what would be beautiful? I wish I could just wake up whenever I want. Like these were hopes, like, like I wish I could wake up whenever I want and talk to anybody that I want. Like it was just like, how can I say this? It was like a dream, an impossible dream. And I'm like, of course, I'm 20 years in the future, and now I wake up anytime I want. Like I don't put an alarm. I wake up, and I'm like, one day I kind of woke up and I went, holy shit, that I wrote that down somewhere once.
I gotta put that on my 2021 to go list. Wake up whenever I want.
Yes,
I'm making the wrong goals in life.
But that was, I mean, I didn't do it from from one day to the next. It wasn't like I wrote it down and the next day I was waking up whenever I wanted. But I see that I worked myself to it. And that now, like I'm in this place. Well, I make my own schedule and I like to wake up when my body says, Jasmyne, wake up. I like my alarm, the meh, 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 meh. I'm like, who wakes up to that? Like, how could you, like, that's so stressful. Why would you wake up to this? Now I wake up to a cat going, and the dog going.
That was how I woke up this morning. My cat did that to me. It was great. I was like, this is way better than getting up to my alarm. But it's interesting. You had said something about, like that, knowing what you want, visioning what you want, right? And that's like what Dare Do It Dream It is, right? Like, is that part of that for so many of us is, wanting to be in that health alignment, being in that health attunement, have that inner expression, which I really feel those are lean-in calls. Those are nudges, right? Those are internal nudges to bring you back in alignment to well-being. And unfortunately, we take it personally. We take that gentle guidance that we're being internally guided towards personally, and then we get up in our head and we shame ourselves, or we guilt ourselves, or we make it something about like you should be doing, and it's really counter productive because it just eats up a lot of headspace. And then we've created a lot more problems than we actually have. And we think we have like 7 problems instead of 1 problem, which is not taking action potential. Right.
I used to tell people, I'm a smart girl, right? So I can talk myself into something, and I can talk myself out of something, and I can, spin myself into a tailspin, and I would just get caught up in it all. Like, what I did for a living was, look at what the problem is and try to figure out a way. Like when I go in companies, this is what I do, right? Okay, so here's your problem. Let me work through the process and see where the problem is. Oh, the problem is here. Let's do this. It's going to fix everything. Yeah, that's good in a business process. But in my mind, it's not working really, really well.
Yeah. It's good for business, but it's not good for the body. You're right. Yeah, or life. It just don't work like that. I had the opposite where I'm up because of this last weekend, getting up at 5:30 to get over to help. Once I stopped, I wanted to start. So I was like, hey, man, I want to be up at 5:30 again because I like being up early now. Because if I wake up every morning at 5:30, I'm never late for anything because there's nothing I'm going to do before 5, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I get this of I'm up with nothing to be, nowhere to be. It's never anywhere I have to be at 5:30 ever.
Yeah, that's
So I
awesome.
get to enjoy my coffee when I have it. I get to sit, like it's the first couple conversations me and Lo have in the morning. I don't have anywhere to be, so I'm just there with her. So then I'll start my day at 7, but that's an hour and a half of nowhere to be, but not including my workout if I work with a trainer or work on my own. Yeah, that was why I did that because I needed just some time to be where it wasn't required to do anything else, but be present with where I was or what I was doing. And
Yeah, I had like a huge mind block about waking up in the morning too. Like I'm not a morning person. I don't do that. And I had so many years where I worked really late. I worked until 2 in the morning. I worked overnights and days as a nurse. And so, there was definitely like I did shift work forever and I was working all sorts of hours. So sleep for me was never like a 9 to 5 schedule routine and you're actually getting it. I used to pride myself too. I'd be like, I only got 5 hours sleep. Look at me for the last 7 years. And wore it like a badge, like it was like a warrior badge. Like, look at me go. And then, I was trying to lean into healthier habits a few years ago and like was talking to one of my friends, just had this aha moment. She didn't actually say it nice either. She was like, what do you mean you don't have time to work out? Can't you just wake up early? It's like, yeah, like not a morning person. She was like, you think I'm a morning person? You think I like waking up at 4:30? And I was like, okay, you might be right. I could wake up early.
there's something about waking up early. That's
and then it felt great. It felt
that
great.
Is so
like
funny.
she was right. I could. That was an option. It doesn't mean you have to. It doesn't mean you have to do it that way. But it is an option. So when we kind of get in our head sometimes and we think of excuses as obstacles that are immovable, but they're actually just excuses. They're just kind of excuses. And it's okay if you want to stay in your excuses, but that's the results you're going to get, out of it. So
I think there's at one point, you just have to be honest with yourself. I mean, for me, that's how it was, it's just like, just be straight with yourself. I started the call by telling you guys that, there's stuff that I hide. And I really saw it on the weekend. For those of you listening to us, there was a masterclass for coaching, and it was a 4-day event. And I really saw it this weekend that I was still, even though, I did Super Coach Academy and I'm a certified coach and, I'm a professional and all of this, I'm still freaking hiding stuff, like I saw over the weekend that I'm a freaking arrogant little bitch sometimes. you know, and I saw myself do it, and then I saw myself wanting to hide it, and then I saw myself wanting to go just take myself away. It was like, okay, they have to stop seeing me. You know, and I just like, I was like, okay, I gotta go to the restroom, and I just, you know, slipped away. And but you know, the fact of the matter is that you just have to be honest with yourself. Like, so I can either resist it or, you know, hide it. And then if I hide it, then I have to remember that I'm it. Right? You know, like if I'm hiding that I'm arrogant, well, then I have to remember constantly, okay, yeah, I forget I'm arrogant. Okay, I have to hide that. I have to hide that. Okay, I have to hide that. Okay, wait. I have to hide that. And so I'm constantly keeping it alive by wanting to hide it. Right? But the fact of the matter is, just be honest with yourself. Accept that sometimes you're an arrogant little bitch.
And see, so if it's only sometimes, then are you actually arrogant?
Well,
or are you just sometimes arrogant?
Yeah, sometimes I'm arrogant, but that's the thing, that I would make it a rule, right? And you know what? That shows up everywhere. That shows up in my food. You know, like I'd be like, okay, well, you know, I like fudge. I like fudge, right? Okay, so I'm gonna have fudge today. Maybe I'll have 2-piece. Maybe I'm gonna have 3-piece. Maybe just, you know, I'll just eat the fudge that I just did, you know? And instead of making it an exception, you know, I made it a rule. So it was kind of like they're like the same thing with soft drinks. You know, if I think of soft drinks, I love the taste of soft drinks. And it became one. And then it was like, you know, I really, really like, so I had 2 per meal. And then it was like, yeah, but I like it at dinner too. So I had 1 at dinner, and then I'd had 2 at dinner. And then it became, well, you know, there's a dinner and a lunch every day. So let me do it every day. So it just became like I would make it a thing instead of just, okay, well, sometimes I can be arrogant. Sometimes I can eat fudge. Sometimes I can watch TV. Sometimes I can run. No, I would never run. Not ready for running. Sorry, Rob.
No, but I love what you're saying though. On every moment is different. And sometimes we think that each moment collectively, we look at moments collectively to try to do a picture, but actually each moment is a picture. And so what I mean is that when you said that, you know, here I'm arrogant or here I'm there, I remember telling somebody, they was like, oh my God, man, you're such a good dude, bro. I said, hey, if you ever hear somebody out in the street say I'm an asshole, don't argue with them. And they was like, no way. I said, no. I said, just call me. I said, but when you call me, ask me what's wrong. Because if I'm an asshole, it's probably because something's wrong. They was like, oh, no, you can't be an asshole. I said, oh, no, I can't. Trust that. Like, trust that. But it's probably usually when I'm off. So if you are considering yourself a friend, then ask me why I'm off. That'll bring me back. You know, and or getting I no longer have to get everything right. I just got to get the next moment good. Just one moment with you. So I got to be perfect all day. I just had to be good for our 2 o'clock podcast. Well, when our podcast is over, I'm like, I ain't got to be the best PT client, you know, PT trainer for next, but I'm gonna do my best on this one. Like each moment is separate. And when you do it like that, it drops the judgment of wanting to bring forward, oh, I ate this earlier, oh, I didn't do this earlier, oh, I didn't do that, because they're separate moments. They're separate moments. So all I do is make sure I don't get a collection of too many in a row, whatever they are. I don't work out too many days in a row because that's not good for your body. I don't not work out because that's not good. I don't eat too much fudge too many days in a row. I don't know, not. You see what I mean? It's just like the balance we was talking about from the beginning is I love gummy snakes, twin snakes. They're made by Haribo, like the gummy bears, but instead of gummy bears, they're gummy snakes.
Yeah.
Absolutely adore them. I'm going to ride my bike an extra 30 minutes if I have to eat them. I'll do whatever I got to do to eat, but I'm not stopping that. Like that ain't stopping. It's not going anywhere. I love it. So, yeah, I love the balance piece that each moment. Now, I don't eat a bunch of them in a row though, because that could then hurt me.
Yeah, I like the balance, definitely. And what I'm seeing also is the freedom.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that what brings it all together is really seeing what we want. Like seeing really truly what we want. And I think that was missing. Like, although I thought that, I wanted to do what I wanted, like I want to do what I want when I want. When I left my job, in my 20s, I had this job and I had a good job. I was making a nice salary. I had my 3 weeks vacation. I had, my coverage. I had all of that stuff, right? And I left because I hated it. Like at one point, I would wake up pissed off every single day and go through the day angry. Everybody in the office was stupid. It was just miserable. And I left. And I thought that, and when I left, I said, I want to do what I want when I want. Right. And I thought that meant that I could binge watch a show for 5 days, right? But there were other things that needed to be done, that if I looked at those things, I would see that I really truly wanted to do these things also. Like there was something more there than just the surface of it.
Yeah.
So I love that I've been able to look deeper and I see deeper every single time that I truly look, So I think that, I think we all want freedom, and that will definitely come by knowing what we truly want.
I like that. I like how that sounds.
So, I think that it's going to be a beautiful season. So, I think that I've already got a couple people that have been booked for calls, for recordings. I'm looking forward to it. I'm also, one thing that I'm trying to do is to get people like Michael Neal to come on so that we could have a 30-minute conversation and then a 30-minute question and answer session. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I've put it in the universe right now, and then we'll see what happens. So hopefully that's going to happen, because the season 2 is going to be from mid-January to end of June. So it's going to be, and then we'll see for season 3 how that goes.
Sounds fun. I'm excited.
So I think I'm looking forward to it too. We're gonna have fun. I don't know where it's gonna go, but I wanted to ask Rob. So I haven't been working out much. I have been moving more. I've been more mentally noticing things in my body. Like I noticed that I have a butt. Like it used to be a block, and now it's like 2 buttocks. Like when I'm walking, I'm like,
yeah,
oh, I have
yeah, girl, you got a butt.
I'm gliding. So that's kind of cool. I've also noticed.
That's when you know you've made it. when
Yeah.
you're like, you look back and you're like, yeah.
I don't think it's a nice butt yet. I'm not there yet.
Oh,
But
girl, it's beautiful.
what I
Don't
mean is
start.
I can feel it move. Like I feel like I've got tone. I don't know what that is actually, Rob. Maybe you can help me with that. I mean, when I'm walking, I feel
Stronger.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
And I also feel like my neck is not as big as it used to be. And I'm also feeling like my stomach is not as big as it used to be. Although when I'm on Zoom, I always have a dog on it, but uh, so my thought is I wanted to have a conversation with you, or I wanted you to address the stress part, like
Yes.
what
Okay.
stress does to the body.
Yeah. So what Jasmine is talking about, one of the things that we particularly did with her training style was because we was working with the thoughts and the things that she had around carrying a certain amount of weight, we had to break that down to show that it's actually not the quantity of weight that makes a person um, obese. It's the quality of the weight. And what I mean by that is you can be 300 pounds, but if your body fat percentage falls into 10 to 12%, then you're not considered obese. It's when your body fat mass is I think is what is it, Amy, 30% or more, 35% or more,
Yeah,
yeah, that you get ranked in those obese categories. So when I told Jasmine the story of a young lady who I once did an assessment on, and she was 120 pounds, but she was about 40% body fat. Um, she had no muscle mass. She was just as unhealthy as any, as we would say, large person. Um, that really helped her. And we got to, at that point, just focus on changing our body composition. And once you start working on your body composition, you'll notice things like what you're saying, that your stomach sizes are going down, your jeans fit differently. And you may not see it move on the scale, but that's because your fat-free mass in your body is depleting and your lean muscle mass is increasing, because that's the ratio of what we're playing with. Being around 75%, having a fat mass of about 20% or less, only because it just helps with your move. If you don't want to have 20% or less, doesn't mean it's just going to come with its own problems, right? There are preventable diseases that occur because an excessive amount of fat mass in our bodies. So if you want to stay away from those, then relatively staying 25%, 20% and below, it's going to help you. And you really don't have to get tied into numbers with that. You can do that with feeling. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Amy.
I was just going to say how much, social,
Yes, those
cultural,
are
other
huge.
things
Yes.
really play in a huge factor on our ideas of how our bodies age. And, yes, they do, like our bodies age. But we kind of accept like feeling really tired, and we kind of accept feeling like shit and thinking that's part of it. We kind of accept the aches and pains. Um, and the solution really is just leaning into your own vision, because that what intrinsically motivates you and
Mm-hmm.
discovering what that is, and feeling the difference of it, because you don't have to accept those things. It doesn't have to be part of the aging process. We really
Nope.
can, and we can reverse a lot of that too. You've even just said it, Jasmine, like you're starting to feel better, like the pains are starting to dissipate. There's lots of reasons. I mean, you can look up things, certain foods have inflammatory type responses in the body, and we can get into those. But that's why I really teach noticing, because if you notice, then you're the one eating it, you're the one feeling it. You can be like, oh, every time I have a lot of this, I feel that. you know, everyone's body's different. You know, everybody's body it reacts differently to different things. And so I do believe that it's very much so like really paying attention, slowing down, and you get so many benefits. Make the space, make the space to just move a little bit, eat well, because the benefits, like you feel better, you think clearer. I mean, it's just like the moment, this is something I want to say, because I had this aha moment, like momentum works both ways, right? Like momentum can take you back down the hill, you know, like, and it also, you know, once you get over it, like it works. You might be going down the hill you want to go down, you know? So, and the reason I had this moment is because I like kind of took a little break for like, you know, Christmas, and it's been like 3 weeks of just moving real slow. And I'm like, I'm feeling the resistance now. I got the resistance. So I just started walking. Like I met my resistance where I'm at. And I know that that will build momentum back to where I was. I'm not going to get in my head about taking 3 weeks off. It felt great. It was lazy. I drank Bailey's and coffee every morning. Like it was great. So, you know, and that's in alignment with my vision for a few weeks. I just needed a little rest down. And I think that that's important because it is life. It's fluid. And, but just knowing momentum works both ways, meaning you sometimes just have to rip off the Band-Aid and start. You just got to move, just inchworm it until you start cruising.
Yeah. And you know, like what I'm hearing is it's freedom. Like, you know, you gave yourself permission to do whatever you wanted to do, but you also know what you truly want is to be able to be healthy, right? So you gave yourself permission and freedom to rest for 3 weeks, and then you knew that it was going to start again. So that's really, really interesting to look at and to see. And yeah, it's about seeing, noticing, and looking at the things that are happening. So
what's on offer? What's on offer?
What's on offer? What's on offer if you do that? I see peace. I also see love, like love, not, I'm so in love. No, love, like, you know, being in that space where things are the way they are and they are not the way they are not. They are. And it may seem like bad news, but it's actually a beautiful place to dwell in. So guys, I'm looking forward to the season. So thank you so much for being here. And everybody who's listening, I think this is a good place to stop. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good.
Do you have any little words of wisdom just to finish it up? Is there anything coming up for you?
Inchworm till you get it.
Inchworm? What is that?
Yeah, sometimes you just got to move forward. Doesn't have to be a lot. Just let it, then it flows.
Okay. Rob?
Balance.
Balance.
Make it all balance.
Well, here's what I say. I say, dream it, dare it, do it, live the life you want. And we shall see you next time. Take care, everybody.